Hey guys, Ryan here. So I've had some friends ask about bass guitar and giving lessons, and as much as I would love to give lessons, I just don't have the time for it or the margin for it as much as I wish I did. So I thought I'd make a couple of videos, just kind of help you out with some of the beginning stuff, get you going. If you like it, let me know. Maybe we'll do some more. If you have questions, feel free to shoot me a message, and we can try to talk through it. I don't claim to be an expert. I have played bass guitar since I was 17, which was just a couple years ago. You can believe that, right? I was in high school. I grabbed a Mel Bays book. I don't even remember how I come across it, but it was Mel Bay, Melbays, apostrophe, Mel Bay's Bass Method 1, and that was the book I used to teach myself. And I had taught myself to read bass clef, and this was over the summer before my senior year, right? So I go into school for my senior year, and I auditioned for a jazz band against another guy who came in with a bass, and he was super into heavy metal, and all I knew was what I'd taught myself out of Mel Bays, and I'd played trumpet for years, right? So I kind of knew what to expect from jazz band and kind of what to expect from that group of individuals that I'd be working with in high school. So that was kind of how I got started, and it's been a blast. I've gotten to play at Sandstone Amphitheater here in Kansas City, Kansas. I've played at the Voodoo Lounge. There at Harrah's Casino. In fact, the last time I played the band I played with, we played the night after Coldplay had played there. So there's just a lot of great things about playing instruments and where that can lead you, where that can take you. I also play other instruments now, primarily a guitar. But at heart, I'm a bass player, and that's really the only instrument. If you ask me to sit down and play something somewhat difficult, that'd probably be the only instrument I could figure out how to play a song on. Not because it's easier, I'm just more well versed in what to do with a bass. Because I've played it for 20 some odd years or so, maybe. Um, so now that we got the fact out, I'm a little bit older. Here's some real basics. So, bass guitar, get a good strap. Figure out where the place is that you want to wear your bass or play your bass. Years ago, I knew a guy, phenomenal bass player, but he played with that strap up here. But I mean, this guy was, he's a legit bass player, right? He played for all the greats back in the 70s, 80s, right? And the 90s. I mean, this dude was legit. And that's how he played bass. Was he carried it up here, and I can't even mimic it. It is so crazy. I went for a little bit more of a jazz rock kind of infused height, if you will, if you want to compartmentalize that. Just kind of a midway. Some guys kind of. So what I mean is, it's just kind of on my belly. The bottom of the bass is kind of over my belt, right? And that's just where I like it. A lot of the rock and roll guys, they want it down below their belt line, down at their knees, whatever. If you can play the instrument, play it right, play it well, wear it whatever way makes you happy. I never liked it that low. It made it too hard to move quickly for me and to move up into the higher register. So get a strap, play with it, figure out what's comfortable. Probably the best way to do it is when you learn scales, is play scales and play it at different places on the neck of your instrument and figure that out. So let's talk a little bit about the instrument. This one happens to be a 5-string. I also play a 4-string Fender Precision bass. It's kind of a Fender Precision bass. It's actually a kind of home built Frankenstein, if you will. But this is a Schecter 5-string. This is the one. This is kind of my go-to because of the range it has. But we're going to talk about it like it's a 4-string. So you have the body of the instrument, and on the body you have a bridge, and then you have some kind of configuration of pickups, which this is what picks up the sound that your strings make and electrify and send it out. So this would be your bridge pickup and your neck pickup if your instrument's wired that way. Some only have one or the other. Some have different configurations. Some have a PJ style. This is more of a soap bar style. Whatever your instrument has, though, if it's close to the bridge, that's your bridge pickup. If it's close to the neck, which this elongated piece of wood is your neck, then it's a neck pickup. Your electronics will always differ. This one splits how much sound I want to get from one pickup or the other. This is my overall volume. This is a built-in EQ, high, mid, low. Yours may have it, it may not. It just depends on the instrument. Doesn't make it good, better, or worse. It's just different. Talking about pickups, this one has active electronics, which the simple answer is I put batteries in it to make them work. Gives you a little bit, I don't know how to explain it. It's an active sound, right? There's probably somebody out there that's smarter than me. Explain it better. My Fender Stein is passive. It does not use the electronics are not activated with the electrical current from a battery. Only whatever comes from your 1/4-inch instrument cable that you plug into it. So have the neck. That's this piece of wood. On the neck, so we had the bridge at the bottom end on the body. At the top of the neck, this piece of bone or synthetic bone or plastic, whatever your company instrument puts on it, is called the nut. Top of the neck is the head, right? These are tuning knobs so that you can tune your instrument. And speaking of tuning, so on a 4-string bass, this would be your top string, or your E, A, D, and G is going to be your normal tuning. E, A, D, G for a 4-string bass. Hand position, let's talk about that. You have 4 fingers and a thumb, so 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to use that a little bit later. Typically, these two are almost always going to be lined up on a bass. That's not true for a guitar, but it's true for a bass. And we're talking about standard, and again, I'm quoting from Mel Bay's Bass Method 1. My thumb is going to be in the middle of the neck, in the back of the bass, right? Now, so that's typically where my thumb is almost always going to be. Sometimes you might catch me at a show playing rock and roll and being all crazy and doing like, but if I'm playing correctly. Let's not get in the weeds here. Your thumb is going to generally always be in this space right in here. And it's funny that Schecter puts these 2 lines. So basically my thumb's going to work. This is the home for my thumb. Now on the front side, on the neck, this is going to be lined up with my thumb, right? This next thing I do is called marrying the frets. And that means that I space my fingers out in a way that each one is equally spaced across the frets that are next to it. All right? Now, why that comes in handy is if major scale. I didn't have to do a lot of craziness moving my hand. I could play the scale and not have to move my hand all over. Just move my fingers up each string, keep it in the same place, my hand in the same place, and play the scale. Now, major scale, let me give you this one to work on. So 1, 2, 3, 4, right? We're going to start with the 2. We'll start on the E string, and this is on the A, if you know any of your notes. 2, 4, 1, 2, 4, 1, 3, 4. And that's a major scale. 2, 4, 1, 2, 4, 1, 3, 4, 1, 4, 3, 1, 4, 2, 1, 4, 2. And it's hard to not try to be in the same key as what you're playing when you do that. That's major scale. Wherever you decide to play it on your bass, that's what it's going to be if you're starting on the E string, right? So if I go to G, another thing I'd encourage you to do as a bass player, get a metronome, practice scales with the metronome. That is huge. You are helping the percussion. You guys are working together to keep the tempo of the overall music. So, next thing is learn your strings. Like I said, your E, A, D, G, and learn all these notes that go in here. And if you buy a book, they'll typically teach you what all the notes were. And maybe we can talk about that more in another video. Appreciate you guys. I hope this helped. If it did, let me know, and we'll figure out where to go on the next step.